Good afternoon, day, night, whatever time it might be for you guys. This is the Countyline Chronicles Episode 1. I want to take a quick note to acknowledge the fact this is actually an idea that my buddy Wyatt, you guys have seen some shorts with him before, we came up with the idea that we kind of wanted to start a podcast to really just kind of explain our stories and where we really have come from, and of course, interview other special guests and really anybody that's had a significant role in our upbringings. But on today's episode, I'm going to take you guys around because I want to introduce you to your main host, being me, Buck, and I want to share with you guys the story behind what got me into YouTube, where it has taken me from here, and really just my story. So let's jump right into the video and break down really what's all happened over these last 5 years. And thinking about it, over the last 5 years, we've really met a lot of great people and grown a lot of great partnerships, and one of those is Andy. If you guys don't know who Andy Clean was before he came up upon the scene of Farm Sim, then you might already know him from being the greatest tractor soap dealer there ever was to exist. I honestly love being around people like Andy. I love being around people like Marty from Prairie State Tractor. We've met with however many countless companies, Ignite Nutrition, Nebraska Knockerball, my own creation of Bucks Gym. I mean, there's so many little things that we've done that they all just tether down to one thing, where it all began. All of the brains to the operation that I do on a daily basis come from my setup right behind me. My computer is just off the screen this way, but this is where the magic happens. For you guys that have known, for the entirety of my channel, besides the very first video that ever was posted on it, I have done everything on my channel from start to finish with no outside incorporation. I did not hire an editor. I've never hired a content manager. I literally do everything on my channel. And that really has been, I feel, a determining factor as to why my channel is as tight of a system as it's been. But going back to the beginning of things, this never looked like this. This is the current rendition of what my setup has been like. But when I started out, I had one monitor, a broken sit-back office chair, I think I was literally a freshman in high school when I originally just started tinkering with things. I remember back in the early days of Farming Simulator, back in I believe 2017, I started working with texture files because I've always seen these people that had the really cool stuff, and I'm like, I want to get that cool stuff. And it really was a determining factor that if I never got into Farm Sim modding, never would I be here where I'm sitting right now. I could be in a four-year university, I could have done trade school work, I could just be out in the workforce, but something chose me to be here. And I'm forever grateful for that, but it's been an interesting ride. There's no real way to explain to anybody how you can be a good YouTuber or just a good content creator in general. There's concepts that you can give to people, but it's really hard to tell somebody how to do something when the only real way to find out is to get your hands in the field and just play with it yourself. You have to learn your own path. And one of the things that I have struggled with the most, even in my own personal life, has always been organization. For the longest time, we'll get to the story of how I almost lost my company. I lost the channel, I lost my identity, I lost my will. A lot of things that just kind of pertain to building a business, I've had to just learn from the experience and the hard-felt losses that come with the game of life. So I invested a couple months ago when I moved to the new place that I'm at now, and probably will be for the next few years. I got a whiteboard. On the other side, I have a bunch of stuff written down, like planning, finances, just whatever. But this is like my brainstorm board. If I have an idea, it's like keeping a notepad on the side of your bedside table. The $1 million idea will come to you eventually. You just have to be prepared when you're ready to go for it. When somebody asks me, though, what did it take you to become a YouTuber? What does it take to start? And really, where did it all begin? It kind of just goes back to when I stated I just kind of wanted to get into modding. Well, that's just the computer side of things. how did I get into the YouTube field? Well, I'd love to tell you guys. It all started in, I believe, the spring, or I can't remember exactly. No, it was the fall time when I started working with Jake. You guys might know him as the Formal Pickle. I met him in a 5M server for Iowa-based roleplay in GTA 5. When I met Jake, I was scared of this dude in every way, shape, and form. There was a guy particularly, I will not say his name for the sake of privacy reasons, but there's he's one person that I still hold a grudge to this day, and I need to learn how to get rid of it. But he hyped up Jake that he was a really scary guy, you only speak when spoken to, you don't, whatever, this is blah, blah, blah. 2.5 months go by on this thing, and I'm having some problems with the server, and the developers weren't helping, so I contacted Jake. Jake was the nicest dude I've ever met. I'm like, why did they pitch you up to be scary? He was just in college, so he didn't have a whole lot of time. Well, when Jake and I got together, it was like, you can't pass up this opportunity. I had the ability to work on the backside of things, and he was going to school for a film degree, so it's like you cannot use this to your advantage. So we grow together, we started playing some stuff together, we made a couple videos, had some fun. We used Jake's platform that he already had 300 some people that were subscribed, and we had views that were coming in. This is when Countyline started putting into place, but we originally started on a map called Midwest Horizon. I use it for my old school series now, so if you guys want to check that out, go check the top right. But once we got onto Countyline, I had started getting a lot deeper into the modding field. I started tearing apart codes, getting a little bit more creative, and the real shining star of those days back in early 2020, 2019 area is that if you had mods, you got views or you got recognition. So I used that tactic on Facebook, and I started talking around to a couple different creators. And one of which was Grant. You guys know the squad. If you don't, then Grant Hilbert, otherwise known as the squad, was probably one of the top 5 people that made content for FarmSim back in 2019. And with that, I somehow managed to get a hold of him by sending him, I think, 2 or 3 projects that pertain to his Rolling Coal Customs and then some of his farming related series. Well, he came out with a video one time, and I think it was on an RCC, where he's like, I want to get back into farming, but I can't just do farming. Well, Jake and I had the idea of the RP series, which is, hey, let's show up to the dealer and buy the combine. Then you have to go to the agronomist and get your crop field looked at and see all the data, the analytics. And we made it a reality. I pitched it to Grant, and he said, I can only do this maybe once or twice a week. We'll see how it goes. Safe to say, within a week, Grant was on every single night of that week. We talked on Discord, we got things going, and it was boom season. I mean, we're talking, Jake went from 300 people that followed him to upwards of 4,000 by the end of the week, almost to 10K within like a month. He was monetized super quick. Grant was getting a bunch of views. I mean, we're talking, guys, you can't... Our analytics were up by like 15,000%. It was insane. But I'm still sitting in high school. I'm like a sophomore at this time. Jake's still finishing up film school, and Grant is straight up finishing up, I believe, at Iowa State. So we're all in this bubble of what's going on. It took off. It completely went through the roof, took off. And we ran with it. Countyline is still the best RP series that we ever did to this day. And that's where we also brought in, from the modding community, I pitched the idea to Austin Farmer. And we obviously know what happened to him. He took off, Jake took off, and Grant and all them looked at me. It was the middle of November at some point in, I believe, 2018, maybe? They were looking at me in this Discord chat, and they went, you know, if you wanted to run with us and make this, make a channel, do something like this, you're going to need the equipment. Because when we started, I did not want a channel. I have never in my life wanted a YouTube channel, making content, doing whatever I've done. I do not want to start YouTube. It wasn't me. Well, that's not what life chose. And by this point, we had already established ourselves maybe 3, 4, 5 months in. And Grant's like, we need to get you a computer that can handle this. I did not have a computer that could do the job. Everything was just going so fast. It's either you jump on the boat now or you sink and regret it later. Glad I jumped on the boat. Grant ended up getting the PC to this day that I still run. Now, it's been upgraded out the wazoo, but it's the original computer that I started this business with. And from that, I learned how to edit my own videos. Jake threw me a program. I use FX Home's HitFilm. I use HitFilm Pro now. I used to use the free one, HitFilm Express. Never really ever had problems with it. But I had to learn how to make my own videos. And then I had to learn how to set up my own videos, do the whole process. I mean, we're literally talking from start to finish. I do everything for this channel. And it's a good thing because everybody in our channel always had their style. I'm quality over quantity, so I never had a bunch of videos going out. Grant was more of a quick cut production, but still getting the main point across. Jake was more adamant about the quality, but he was able to push stuff more because he grew a large team that he had content managers. He started using AI. He's been now working with his father. I mean, there's so many things that he's used to innovate his crew. Austin really just kind of hit the niche and ran with it. He had his own series that he just pushed the content and it worked. He started the mega cuts phase that everybody does now. Fearsome Rhino 2, otherwise known as Nate. When I pulled him along, he took the mixture between Jake and Austin, and he's been growing his crew. He's got almost 40,000, 45,000, I believe, people. I'm not sure at the time I'm making this, but he is doing fantastic. I knew within 30 seconds of meeting this guy, he had what it took. You just had to throw him into the woods and let's see what happens. So it's been so awesome to watch all of these people grow and do what we've done over the last however many years. While Grant and I always usually butted heads on things, it really was the start of what has made my channel what it was. Breaking down into the next segment is kind of where the hardships start to encounter themselves, because with all the good, there has to be bad. And that is the harsh reality of what it really takes to be a content creator. It doesn't have to be a really difficult process, but to let you guys know on an average how many hours I put into my channel in a week doing everything I do, it could range easily from 60 to 70 hours a week. I could be up on the computer looking at it at 7 in the morning and I don't log off until 12:30 at night. Well, 12:30 the next morning. It's a grind. You really have to put your heart and soul into it if it is indeed what you want to do. Just a little over a year ago, on June 27th of 2023, reality had hit its lowest point, or its highest point, where I got a reality check. And at that point in time, Grant and I had been working together for probably 3-4 years at this point. And I'd been working side by side with him basically every single day. I had a contract that I wrote up with him that I was making a good amount of money to stay afloat and really build my system around me, but let's just say I let that get the best of me. I didn't put time into my own channel. I didn't develop my own company. I really was just along for the ride, and I let that go too far. On June 27th, while sitting out at Ignite Nutrition in Seward with my great friend Liz, I got an email from YouTube that said I had been blocked. I got logged out of my email, and my channel got hacked. Leading up to this, 2 days before, had been running constant nonstop, setting up, making things, doing stuff. I mean, it wasn't even like I was building my own channel. I was just doing random things that just could not be sourced back to really anything relevant. And I actually fell asleep on the job with Grant and Nate. Like the video where Grant made a short, you guys can find that in the top right if I can find it, where I'm snoring behind the camera. I had been so far invested in what I was trying to do to make things big that I literally fell asleep on the job. I have never in my life passed out at my own work, but I did. That night, the 2 days before, I read a sponsorship ad for a company called Sticks, I believe, or something. It would have been the same platform that we use for the time-lapse music, being Epidemic Sound. I got greedy. It was a deal that I felt like I couldn't pass up, but my sensors were so far down that It was somebody who hacked into the computer, cloned it, and then changed my entire channel to like some Tesla thing, and I lost all access to everything. That email was the head of everything on my operations. I thought I had security stuff set up, but I learned the hard way. So for 2 weeks, I did not have my channel for a week. My projected profits, I think, for that month went from like $2,200 at the time, or maybe $1,000, $1,500 at something at most, to $150. That one was bad. It was a bad day. And the month of July, starting off, I didn't have anything. About 2 weeks later, I finally got, I had to reach out to YouTube through Twitter. Once I reached out to them through there, it took a couple different loops. I still to this day don't know how they did it, but I got my email back. And with getting the email back, I knew that I had to change some stuff. So I took my computer up to my friends up in Papillion, Nebraska. I'm not sure if you guys are from anybody from that area, but I used Schrock Innovations. They really were the lifeline for this computer and my business as a whole at that time. I got the computer completely wiped almost, so that way any remnants of what could have happened was gone. And then I upgraded some of the parts on the inside. And then my mom, also my #1 fan. You guys could say you're my biggest fan, but no one could be as big of a fan as my mother, okay? You cannot beat my mama. Love you, Mom. But with the help of the support of my family and Schrock, the computer was finally back up and running after 2 weeks. And then I went into hiatus. I was really depressed. I couldn't get anything to work. All the content was just sliding downhill. I could not figure out why on earth life had just kept throwing me down in the gutter. Well, between no organization, no motivation, and no real sense of awareness, life had bit. I mean, it bit hard. And the heydays were gone. We did videos every other week, but at this time, American Farming's on the route to be launched in like December or whenever it actually came out. But Grant wasn't able to record, I wasn't able to be on, and I was just making less and less and less and less and going higher and higher and higher in debt. I'd maxed out my credit cards, I'd run through my savings at this point. I'm down to my bottom dollar. I'm worth like -$300. Nothing, absolutely zero. I made enough to make payments on things to where I wasn't like going to be evicted, but I had no money, no food, no drive, nothing. Depressed. It was rough. It was a very rough patch of life. And it was that way until October. I don't know what it was to this day that it happened, but I tell everybody that that was the day that I got saved. On October 11th, 2023, I made a change. The night before, I was sitting at my computer eating peanut butter with a spoon because it was the only thing that I had. And I looked over to my right and I saw a silhouette just in my mind. They weren't physically there, but I could picture them standing there. I saw a child, and that child looked at me and said, "Dad, I'm hungry." And all I could have done at this point was look at this child and tell them, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. I only have this. This is all I've got." If that wasn't the biggest wake-up call that I've ever had in my life, that I needed to turn things around, I don't know what was. And I went to work. I skip a lot of the unimportant details, mainly due to the fact that it really just all tethers together, and the main events are what create the small events. I sat down, I planned, I organized, I dunked things out that I'd been throwing away. I had literally a path in my house at one point that you could walk through this thing. It was a mess. I cleaned the house, I organized, I planned, I wrote things down. I went in October, being the worst month that my channel had ever had on record. September was the lowest that it has been in the longest of times. I was a full-time content creator as of the start of 2023. Oh boy. In the month of October, I was projected to make probably 250, 300 max. And I turned it around. If you guys remember the video that I made about the Missouri Iron Gauntlet, it was the start of October 12th, I think. That video, then followed by Prairie State, Hay Series, and I believe Nebraska. Those three went back to back to back. 30Ks. I mean, we're talking the best views that I had ever gotten in my life. And I turned the month of October around from what was supposed to be a $300 month, and it was the second highest payment that I had ever received on my channel from the start. It was like $2,500 or something, 22, I don't know. And here, let me tell you guys a little something about the YouTube algorithm, particularly towards the farm sim market. Your channel will have its greatest piece of growth in the fourth quarter. That's Christmas time, October, November, December, and parts of January. They usually start falling off after that, but let's put it this way. In the short span of October to December, I had grown more subscribers, a greater source of income, and everything as a whole. I did more in 3 months for my channel than I had done in its entire lifespan. I doubled what I'd done that entire year in 3 months. It was nuts. But I knew that there was still things to work on. I wasn't done yet. And sure, I was right. Back in January, like first week and a half or so, there was a situation, family stuff, where I was happened to help my sister up at their house. I was shoveling snow. We had a lot of stuff out there. Well, I went up with a shovel and I was helping out. Well, when they were coming on their way back, I'm up pushing snow by my mailbox, and I'm telling myself, when I can finally learn the difference of being a nice guy and a good man, the doors that I had been seeking for so long to open will finally be there. I'll finally see them. And to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what I would consider the difference between a good man and a nice guy, there's a reason they say nice guys finish last. All of this has nothing, it means nothing in the world of trying to develop and build yourself, okay? Being a nice guy has gotten me hurt. Being a nice guy has gotten me abused. Being a nice guy has gotten me to hurt myself. I mean, we're talking nights where I am raging so badly at life around me because somebody that I thought was a friend had decided to up and leave. My business was doing horrible. I mean, there's just so many factors into what being a nice guy can do. It's not a bad thing. Being a nice guy is not a bad thing. But the good man that I had been searching for, that would crack down on all of this pity, all of this sadness, all of this despair, that's what I'd been trying to search for. And through that 3-month period, I had been working on that. I went to work. I went and organized. I started disconnecting with all the people that had been making this nightmare continue. And it wasn't like they're bad people, but you have to associate yourself with things that are going to build your reputation, things that are going to build your business, things that are going to build yourself and grow others with you. And that had happened. The one thing that I had been fighting for the longest, and the thing I keep the most secret, mainly because no one needs to know everything about you. A woman appeared in my life. I don't say her name. I don't show her face. She's been one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. And I spend as much time with her as I can. I try to make sure that I build my business, but I also can build my life. Because life outside of YouTube, guys, is great. I don't like to be stuck behind a camera every single day of my life. But that's what life chose me to do. And I make the best of both worlds. I'll tell you one thing, though. I would never have met this guy. I would have never been partnered with Prairie State. And I never would have had this logo had I not thought through the thick and the thin. You can't buy an experience like this. You can buy Jerry, but not that one. You have to find your own. And the ride that I have taken, I would do it all again. I would make a lot of different choices. But what's the point in doing that if you didn't learn your lesson? The race to the 100,000 subscribers has been always up in the air for me because, as I've stated, I never intended / never wanted to become a YouTuber, but life said otherwise. I want to use my gift that I can present to you guys as a reminder that anybody can do it. You just have to have the dedication and the willingness to go the distance. I want to hit that 100K. To me, that is the milestone of you can do it. People are able to do this. Another great example of somebody who has done it and did it in a style that I did it, but he did it a heck of a lot different in terms of the quality, the production, and that's just his style, is Square2448. He's a self-built channel. He did all of his stuff. He recorded every single day. He had a system. The guy made it work. Not everybody likes him. Good. You're not going to like a lot of people in life. But guess what? He's successful. He did it. He's done it. That's all right. We have our opinions. But I love working with them and learning from these people, because learning from people like Grant, learning from people like Austin, learning from people like Square, learning from people like your parents, your friends, your relatives, any of them. Take the advice that you are given in life. You don't have to do anything with it, but have an open ear. For crying out loud, people. It will get you so far in life. Networking is key. You want to build a content career? Get into networking. I cannot stress that enough. And so the saga continues. I'm here. I still intend to be here. I still intend to push that content for as far as I can. Future plans really involve around building on projects like Project 56. You guys probably know about that little mower. It's the little riding tractor from Farm Sim. Well, I have the real life one. I've gotten phase 1 done. It's been kind of up in the air if I was going to start phase 2 because it was having some running problems, but I think I fixed that. And I want to work on my Red Oldsmobile. I want to just go to these trade show events. I'll be at Farm Progress with Andy Clean the end of the month. I'll be with Grant come harvest season and all the other major events. I might hook up with Jake again, talk to Nate, just meet people, do these events, just enjoy life. I want to build a channel that's worth the value of a lifetime. This channel has been my legacy at this point, and I'd really think that by this point, we've made it. I was handed the keys to a Ferrari when Grant originally got me going, but you find out real quick that to keep that Ferrari on the road, it's going to take a lot of work. But if you do things right, and you have a little bit of luck on your side, and you meet some great people, things like this can happen. I want to thank somebody by the name of Maverick. Now, when I started doing the TikTok content, Maverick was a guy who showed up, and he does his own engraving company. He did this on a piece of what looks to be oak, maybe? Better it's pine. Either way, he sent this to me. And I have it hanging up on the wall because my favorite tractor is a 5020, and that is the logo. You really start to understand the quality of people when you really just try to slow down and understand them. I couldn't have built this channel without you guys. All of this stuff would never have happened without you, the viewers. Some of you are new to the video. Some of you have been here since the first day. Wherever and whatever you are and whatever you are doing, I wish the best for you guys, because you do truly keep the channel going. I'm not asking for anybody to sit over here and donate me $1 million, but I'm also not sitting here going, man, I really wish I had something else to do. Because when you get to wake up every single morning and just be yourself, and you can get paid for it, there's no better gift. It has its stresses, it has its problems, and I know there's going to be a lot more down the road. But I think where we're at right now is probably the best position that we could ever be in. Will we hit that 100K by the end of the year? I don't know. But hopefully, on the Countyline Chronicles that we continue this, we'll be able to find out a bit more. I'm excited. I think we could hit it by February. But maybe you guys can prove me wrong. Let me know down in the comments. Think we're going to hit that 100K? Depends. But I will see you guys hopefully in our next rendition of the Countyline Chronicles when I'm able to maybe get another guest, share their story, and then continue on with some of the great things that we can do to build upon this, as well as build upon the channel. So thank you guys. Be sure to check out the Boomstick Club for all the up-to-date content from me and the gang. You already know who's in it. See you guys in the next one. The Rental Man out. Peace.